swing, and that's where our dining room was. And they had an interesting way of setting up their table. At each end of the table was a little pitcher with sort of a rag-like dish cleaner. I mean, it had you probably all remember, they had a handle and a sort of string bottom to them. And so you had a pitcher of clean water, and then this pitcher was soapy water, and you washed your silverware each time. And hopefully you did it soon, because well, you couldn't tell the difference after a while which was which. And then you rolled it up, and everybody had a napkin ring, and your silverware and everything was kept in the same place. Kindergartners had such a beautiful situation too. They were taught French at an early age, and the sisters were so devoted to all of the children. It was their life, really, and the interest was so deep. It was not like a teacher that goes home at night. It's not like a teacher that goes home at night, and not that they are wonderful too, but that was their life, to see that we grew up and had a good background. Hard as it was for me, I mean, they tried. But I think that anybody that has been there has the most pleasant of memories. I can't think of going, and I wish they had something like this now. I think it would be a marvelous thing. I think the closest thing is probably Anderhigh Seminary that's left with that kind of feeling. Anyway, there must be somebody else. One of the Lorries should surely come up here. They were the mainstay.
Francis is closer.
Where are you, Francis? Francis? I saw you come in.
Okay, it's up to you, Donna.
Somebody else. Where's Dorothy Harris? Yes, that's a good idea. Everybody that's alumni?
Stand up.
Pardon? That's right.
Yeah, you go, because you were here. They are a border. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm from Seattle, and I went through that traffic, and I'm a little bit late. I was a boarder at Visitation for 6 years, and I loved every minute of it. At first I thought, oh, it was terrible staying there all the time, but we went home on weekends, and it was a lovely place to be. I brought a few things, and then I thought to myself, I thought I had more, but most of the memories were in my heart. And Sister Agnes Marie was one of my just dearest friends. Sister Charlotte, maybe many of you know Sister Charlotte Clare. She just died recently, 100 years. She survived. I think it was even a little bit older than 101.
Sister Charlotte here.
Oh, wonderful. She'll share that.
Where was your home?
I lived in Seattle. Then my mother and father wanted to get me into a nice school that would be, you know, ensure my education. And from there I went on to Seattle and then to Los Angeles, to the Jesuits.
I think you go back and forth on the weekends.
On the bus. And then I would, sometimes my mother would come and pick me up, but most of the time I took the bus home. And then the Sherman twins, their father had the Sherman Optical Company in Seattle, and we would go back and forth together. The lady, I don't know her name, but I was just speaking, said to make sure I tell you that one wing was the boarding school area. And I had the opportunity to help Sister Agnes Marie and Sister Gabriel with the little girls that boarded there. I remember we had one FBI agent who had his daughters in the school, and a number of them from Yakima that were there boarding at school. There are just so many happy memories that I have. It's hard to tell them all. We had study hall every night from 7 o'clock until 8:30. We studied. And also 4 o'clock until 5. And then we ate after at 5 o'clock.
How many boarders were in there at that time?
There were about 40 of us. And that was from the first grade up through high school. And the little girls had a large dorm. Well, maybe there were even more than that. Close to 50, perhaps. The little girls from the first grade up to 6 stayed on the lower floor. And then they had little cubicles with curtains drawn around them. And the older girls had rooms on the upper floor. There were usually 2 to a room, or if you were lucky, you would get 4 in a room. We usually like 4 in a room because we could visit more at night. And the sisters would come in and they would say, "No talking, no talking. You should be going to sleep." And then when the sister would go down the hall, then we'd start our talking again and visiting. And then we'd get up early in the morning at 6 o'clock, and for those who wished, could attend Mass. And that was wonderful because the Jesuits came in from Bellarmine and offered Mass every morning. And then on the weekend, I offered to help the sisters with the retreats. And maybe some of you are YLI members. They came for retreats usually once a month and stayed there on campus. And the Jesuit priests would stay out in their a little cabin, just maybe about half a block away from the main building. And I remember short-shooting one of the Jesuits one. It was terrible. We had gone out to make the bed, and I said to my friend Jackie Knox, I said, "Jackie, that's short-sheet, Father." He was a young priest at that time. And so we short-sheeted him. And then instead of, pulling the sheet out and tucking it under, he just slept on the top of it. And the next morning, Sister Charlotte came to us and said, "Who short-sheeted Father Dalgety?" Father John Dalgety. So she gave us a lecture. But it was good. It was wonderful. Any other questions you'd like to ask? Yes, we wore uniforms. We had blue skirts, a white blouse, and then we had Leatherman jackets and our sweaters that we wore. But then when we were there after school, we would always change our uniforms and go back to our regular play clothes that we had. Lady back there?
I'm just curious, what was the cost of a year of school there?
What was what?
What would be the cost to dance that time for a year, David?
It's been so long ago. I don't remember. Maybe about $100 a month. Maybe more. I don't recall. I know the day scholars, we'd always call them day scholars, they paid about $25 a month, didn't you? Something like that? None?
I didn't get
Do you remember how much we paid?
Tuition. How much tuition
Oh,
was
I
it?
don't know, I wasn't a boarder.
I know as a day scholar though.
I don't remember.
About 25. At that time it was a lot. Somebody else had a question over there.
If you were to go back to the exact place where the building was, where is that now?
Oh, I drove by there.
Is it where the
And
building
it's where
has just been
the
torn
mall
down?
is. It's where the mall
I
is.
believe it was right by Ken.
And it's right up on the, did they rebuild Clover Park High School? and replace it at a different location. Maybe that's where I got lost. Okay, we were just north of that, and there was a stream that went by that we used to go down to and have picnics there all the time. And then we could hear the football games every Friday night. Sometimes we would try to get to go over there, but most of the time we just listened. Yes.
I was going to ask you if you could describe the area a little bit around the school. Tell us what it looked like, where you played there, a little bit about the natural setting.
It was a beautiful thing, just lovely. It was a brick building. Beautiful oak trees surrounded the building. Remember, there was a long driveway that you came in and went around a loop and in front of the school. In the back side, that'd be on the west side, or the east side of it, there were bogs, a lot of water, and then built up bogs. And during the wintertime, we would go out there and go ice skating on the water area. I remember we must have had about 3 good winters during the time I was there, and it was just wonderful. All the electricity had gone off one year, and one winter, and Sister Agnes Marie said, "Don't worry, you'll be warm, we'll give you extra blankets, and then we'll go and heat some bricks." We put them in the fireplace, and we heat those bricks, and then rolled them around old towels, and stuck them on our feet in bed. So it was wonderful. The stream, there was a little stream that went downward, and then came between the Clover Park and Visitation Villa. Remember the lovely trees looking up and seeing the colors when they would turn in autumn. It was a marvelous place to be. God bless those sisters. Yeah. Oh yes, I was one of them. Sometimes I would stay. I would say maybe more than 3/4 would go home. And then some of the girls, one came from Alaska. Her mother had gone there when she was a youngster. Her name is Artist North. Artie North. Remember her? And then she was down in California. There were some from Winthrop, Wenatchee area, and they would go home maybe every 2 months. But they'd stay there, because that would be a long drive, to go back and forth.
What are your recollections of the cows and the chickens, which the sisters kept, and their gardening efforts?
At that time, there was a man that stayed there, and he took care of the cows. And I don't remember the chickens. No roosters, I don't remember them at all. But I remember, the sisters did all the cooking for Sister Frances did the cooking for the boarders and for the sisters.